The Haunting of Hill House. Here's an enhanced and detailed exploration of The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, one of the most iconic and influential horror novels of all time. This summary delves into the novel's characters, themes, and psychological depth, perfect for creating a long, engaging narrative or video. The premise: a study in fear. The Haunting of Hill House is a psychological horror novel first published in 1959. It tells the story of four strangers brought together at Hill House, a mansion with a dark and mysterious history. Dr. John Montague, an investigator of the paranormal, invites three individuals to assist in his study of supernatural phenomena at the house: Eleanor Vance, a shy and fragile young woman; Theodora, a bohemian artist; and Luke Sanderson, the future heir to the estate. The novel explores the thin line between reality and imagination, suggesting that the true source of horror may not be the house itself, but the psychological vulnerabilities of its inhabitants. The setting: Hill House. Hill House is not just a backdrop, it is a character in its own right. Described as a place that is not sane, the mansion is architecturally odd, with angles that don't align and rooms that seem to defy logic. Its oppressive atmosphere is palpable, creating a sense of unease that grows as the story progresses. From the beginning, Hill House is portrayed as malevolent. The opening paragraph famously sets the tone. No live organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. Even larks and katydids are supposed, by some, to dream. Hill House, not sane, stood by itself against its hills, holding darkness within. It had stood so for 80 years and might stand for 80 more. Within, walls continued upright, bricks met neatly, floors were firm, and doors were sensibly shut. Silence lay steadily against the wood and stone of Hill House, and whatever walked there walked alone. The characters: fragile minds in a haunted space. Eleanor Vance. Eleanor is the heart of the story and its most tragic figure. She is a lonely and emotionally fragile woman who has spent most of her life caring for her abusive, invalid mother. Her invitation to Hill House represents a chance for freedom and belonging, but her deep-seated insecurities and yearning for acceptance make her vulnerable to the house's influence. Theodora, often referred to simply as Theo, is Eleanor's opposite in many ways. She is confident, witty, and independent. Her ambiguous sexuality and carefree attitude add layers to her character, and her relationship with Eleanor oscillates between camaraderie and cruelty. Luke is a charming but shallow young man, included in the group because his family owns Hill House. While he often provides comic relief, his flirtations and lack of depth make him a less significant player in the house's psychological games. Dr. John Montague. A scholarly investigator of the paranormal, Dr. Montague hopes to use Hill House to prove the existence of the supernatural. Though well-meaning, he is ultimately powerless against the house's malevolent forces. The history of Hill House. The mansion's dark past is revealed through stories shared by Dr. Montague. Built by a man named Hugh Crane, Hill House was intended as a grand home for his family. However, tragedy struck repeatedly. Crane's first wife died in an accident on the way to the house, and his second wife died under mysterious circumstances. His two daughters were left to inherit the house, but their relationship became bitter and contentious, culminating in accusations of theft and madness. This history creates a foundation of unease, suggesting that Hill House has always been a place of misery and conflict. The haunting, subtle and psychological. The supernatural events in Hill House are subtle but deeply unnerving. Doors close on their own, strange noises echo through the halls, and cold spots appear without explanation. The house seems to target Eleanor in particular, amplifying her fears and insecurities. Eleanor begins to experience strange phenomena, including hearing ghostly laughter and seeing writing on the walls that seems directed at her. As the haunting intensifies, Eleanor's grip on reality begins to unravel, blurring the line between the house's malevolence and her own psychological instability. Isolation and loneliness. Eleanor's deep loneliness and yearning for connection make her a tragic figure. Her desperation to belong leaves her susceptible to the house's influence, which preys on her vulnerabilities. The nature of fear. The novel explores fear as a deeply personal and psychological experience. The haunting is less about external ghosts and more about the character's inner demons, particularly Eleanor's.